And now, the Lafayette Food Junkie Show, served up medium rare every Sunday night.
Welcome to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. I hope you all are taking a break from playing Pokemon Go and are sitting around your house or driving around in your car. Maybe you're driving to your next Pokemon location and you're listening to the radio show. That kind of blew up this week.
It was pretty crazy.
Like in one day, my news feed kind of just Pokemon took over, and I'm kind of okay with it. Like I'm kind of okay about seeing all the Pokemon status updates. But it's crazy. Like I almost want to play it, but I feel like I'm gonna get sucked in, and I already don't have enough time in the day as it is. So not a good idea. Joining me as guest co-host tonight is Zach McMath. He is taken a big project underhand, of starting a food hub here in Lafayette. And we're going to talk about what exactly that is a little later in the show. But we're gonna talk about Pokemon Go first.
Right. Get the important things out of the way.
Get the important things. Yeah. So we were talking about before the show that some restaurants and businesses, I guess, have special Pokemons in their businesses to kind of encourage people to.
Right,
go.
They're calling it lures.
Yeah, to come. And so we said Sizzling Monkey had one. There's this coffee shop towards Youngsville that does, and I know Judy's Inn does as well.
Right. Yeah.
And I saw this meme today, and it was a sign on a restaurant door that said "Pokemon for paying guests only."
Right, because people are just going in, like they're not actually eating there. They're just going in to find their thing. People are going into like random houses that they track a Pokemon to, and like knock on a door. And they're like, "Hey, I tracked one to your house. Can I come in?"
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
When I was driving here today, I passed by the park, and there was a lot of people in the park. So I was like, "Yay, people are at the park! They're all on their phones,
on their phones, walking around, looking
trying to find Pokemon."
Yeah, priorities.
Yeah, there we go. So last night was Mark Whitney's Bread and Circus late night. Yeah. So one of the Kickstarter prizes that you could get for donating was to design your own late night, and they started it last night with his, and he did Brenner. Mark is
breakfast and dinner, right?
Breakfast and dinner. Mark's been on the show before. He's actually going to be coming on in 2 weeks, and I'll have to talk about it with him again. But it was fun. I had a boudin egg Monte Cristo. I mean, how can you go wrong with that?
Powdered sugar on top. Are you kidding me?
Right. And the best part about late night is you order too much food and then
it's breakfast.
Yeah, and you get breakfast the next day, and it's already breakfast.
It's already
food.
Breakfast. Yeah.
So it works out perfectly. And so he didn't know that they were going to do this, but they did themed cocktails as well.
Okay.
And one was like a Whitney Russian and a Mark Mosa, which I got the Mark Mosa, which was a mint granita with, it was just like a mimosa, but it had mint granita in it. It was so good. They apparently ran out of cups.
What?
And I got it in like a soup bowl. But it added to the fun of drinking it.
Was it a cereal bowl?
No, it was like a gumbo, like a to-go gumbo, kind of thing. But it was really good. I've been on this slushy cocktail kick because of it is so hot.
Yeah, because it's really hot outside.
Right. And I was like, this is perfect. They need to put this on the menu. I was like, Mark, this cocktail is great. But he started it, and I have one. Like, I have that prize coming up, and I'm trying to brainstorm.
To create your own menu?
Yeah, what I'm going to do. I'm thinking tacos just because I love tacos so much. And being me, I want to say, do something with insects, but I know no one's going to eat that.
Bug tacos?
But me, yeah. Let's do it. Let's get the sustainable food happening.
You have one called La Cucaracha? Would that be appropriate? Yeah.
Okay, so I've had a lot of insects, and I don't think I could eat a cockroach. No, not happening. No.
Maybe on a salad if it was like, candied or something.
Ooh, no. I can't do it. Not even deep fried. I don't think everything's better fried. I don't even think I can do the cockroach fried. But okay, so tacos. I've also been thinking about just doing like a vegan menu because they've done it once.
Okay.
When Marshall and Tony, who are regulars there, got engaged, they did it for them. Or this is something that I recently was thinking about, being that I don't get to eat there a lot during the week. items that I wish that I could eat at Bread and Circus, like their fried chicken.
Right. Could you go
the Juicy Lucy, which now that the Juicy Lucy's on the menu all the time, I kind of, it's fine. Maybe not necessarily
the point. There's a lot of things you can't get
or bring back some ones that I like the corn dog, the Boudin corn dog. Right?
So good.
And then the organ meat stew that I'm obsessed with.
I didn't have that one though.
Oh my God. That was on their first dinner menu.
Okay.
And the smell of it. I used to tell Manny that he needed to bottle it as a man's cologne because it was just so good.
What is that fragrance? It's organ meat.
It's organ meat.
It's organ meat.
It's organ meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have big shoes to fill now because Mark started with Brenner. And
it'll be fun.
It's going to be so cool to see what the different people
I thought that was an incredible idea for a Kickstarter
They
prize.
always do the best Kickstarters.
They do. I love. This is the second one they've done.
Yes.
Yeah. Kickstarter is fantastic as far as being able to raise funds for those little projects like that.
And since we're talking about Kickstarter, we'll also say that Jeremy Connor with Cellar Salt reached their goal 3 days, actually 4, because they reached it
5 days. They reached it 5 days before it actually ended. And so they're still raising money, but they reached their goal.
So you can still donate and get prizes up until it ends, which is also a really cool thing about Kickstarter that they do. Yeah, you
get prizes. And it kind of allows them to take that next step, to kind of raise money so they can, grow out of the farmer's market and that kind of thing. It was great. Kickstarter's great for that.
For some reason this week, I had a lot of extra time and I decided to go and eat at some places that I normally don't get to dine at because of my schedule. So I went to Cedar Deli this week. Have you dined there a lot?
It's been a while since I've been to Cedar Deli.
Yeah, I've been going there since high school. That's how long. And one of the things that I really liked about Cedar Deli is they have all these really cool. At the time, it's not so different now, but at the time, back when I was in high school, they would have like the glass bottle sodas, which you couldn't really find everywhere. Now you can kind of find them a little bit more because now it's more in vogue. But they still have like the really cool, like different flavored glass bottle sodas. It was Stewart's that they used to have.
Oh, Stewart's. Everything tastes better out of a glass bottle.
Yeah. And then it's like the cane sugar, like the non-high. Yeah. So it's just, they're better sodas. So they were really cool. I think it was Izzle is the name of it. It was like a grapefruit soda. And it was super, and I like the more tart tasting soda. So it was real good. And then I went to Pepin's. The original location, because we were talking about, you were like, oh, the one that's
right, not Warehouse 535.
Right. Yeah. Which you can get the Cuban sandwiches there.
But apparently it's slightly different.
But they're slightly different. Yeah. So he gave them the recipe, but he left something out.
Sure.
Yeah. So I went there.
Any good chef should do that.
Yeah. No, they shouldn't. If they want their recipe to survive and go on, they should not leave out the ingredients. But if you go to the gas station, which is at Ridge and West Broussard.
Right.
On Saturdays, they also do Cuban plate lunches. So yesterday they were doing, it was like a lasagna that was made with plantains.
Oh, yeah.
And then like red beans, and I think it had yuca and stuff. And as much as I want to try it, I can't not get the Cuban sandwich.
But you got to get the Cuban, right.
And it's huge, and it's like buttery, and it's such a good Cuban sandwich. It's the closest that I've gotten to having it in Miami. Like it's the closest that I've got. It's so good. They also have really cool sodas there. Okay. You can also get yuca. I got some yuca chips to go with it. But the soda that I got there, I think it's called Iron Man, and it's out of Miami. And it said like cola with like island flavors. I felt like it tasted
it's really
like
authentic or Authentico. Yeah.
It reminded me of vanilla Coke. Like that's the flavor that I got from it. And again, I don't think it was made with high fructose corn syrup. It was made with cane soda. So
the real deal.
Yeah, those are fun little finds that I like to find at the little international gas stations or grocery stores. So it's kind of cool. And then I also got to go to Blanchard's Barbecue this week, and I kind of decided that maybe people out there don't need antidepressants and they just need the brisket.
They just need brisket
sandwich from Blanchard's.
It just makes you feel better.
Oh my God. It made me feel better. I had the biggest smile on my face. I don't know if it's partially because I'm trying to not eat so much meat. And so I've been eating a lot of vegan meals that when you do get meat, it just tastes so much better. But it was huge. Like, it was a huge sandwich. I got the green chili mac that went with it. Also huge. Like, I had to take the biggest nap after that meal. Yeah, I went into a major food food coma, drool on the pillow. It was hardcore. 2 people could easily have split that, and it was $11.
Nice.
So it was really affordable. Right. I wish that it was easier to get to the food trucks. I really feel like I mentioned this a few weeks ago, and they can steal my idea. It's fine. But I feel like a delivery service should team up with the food trucks to be able to deliver from the food trucks.
Right, because they're not always that easy to get to, and you got to like find them and everything else. Yeah.
Which I know would be tricky in itself because they're not in the same location every day, but maybe they can figure out a way to
where there's
that.
a will, there's a way.
Yeah, maybe we can work on that with somebody. Okay, and then also you guys pretty much live at the worst beer garden.
Oh yeah, I'm like there like at least 3 days a week.
Yeah, because you live in the neighborhood.
Right, we live kind of in Freetown, so it's just right down the road.
Okay, so I have a question. Mm-hmm. I was seeing on social media that they had pools. Do they still have pools? And
I believe,
people can just get in the pools.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they call them kiddie pools, but I have friends that are not kids that are sitting in them. They're just kind of beat the heat and people bring a bathing suit. So not
only is it an outdoor beer garden, they're very pet friendly, but now you can go swimming there too. Well,
right, you can swim in like maybe 3 feet.
But you can cool off in the back. I'm wondering if...
Right, they're only like maybe 10 feet wide.
Do they also have a bartender go out there while you're in the pool?
And serve drinks in the pool? I don't know, but if they do, I wouldn't move.
We need to work on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't move out of the pool.
Actually, they should probably just that whole back area, just put a bunch of those pools for the summer. Maybe that's something they could work on for next year.
A pool day, yeah.
Right. Well, so when they were there for festival, they had the boutine and the poutine. Mm-hmm. It's back on the menu.
Oh, cool.
And I was going up to order the boutine, which is boudin, gravy, cheese curds, and fries for anyone who doesn't know. And I saw these glorious pretzels.
Yeah, they make great pretzels.
And I said, I need to get those. And apparently they're locally made. I believe the baker is out of New Orleans.
Okay.
But yeah, they're locally made. I found that out because I posted it and somebody knew the baker and tagged them in it. And so I found all
Small world.
Yeah. Small world supporting local artisans. Yeah, there we go. All right, we are going to take our first break. And when we come back, we have more with Zach. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
So what is foundation failure? With the soil conditions in our area, you'd think the subject would be common knowledge. But it is misunderstood, and the sad part is many types of foundation failure are preventable. But it starts with understanding the problem. Hi, I'm Kevin Bell with National Foundation Repair. To find out more, ask questions, and get the truth, call us at 233-3258 or visit us online at nationalfoundationrepair.net. Because when it comes to the foundation of your home, ignorance is not bliss.
Foundation failure, a homeowner's worst nightmare. Bricks crack, doors stick, sheetrock breaks. The symptoms are clear and should not be ignored. Relax. It might not be as bad as it seems. Let the professionals at National Foundation Repair help you by diagnosing your problem and engineering a solution so you can rest easy once again. National Foundation Repair. We know foundation failure, so you don't have to.
In Lafayette, call 233-3258.
You appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 8844 at checkout, code 8844.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. Call the Tax Mediation Hotline that's been set up to help you. 800-486-9020. Stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe more than $10,000 in taxes, call for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Tax Mediation Hotline, 800-486-9020. That's 800-486-9020. 800-486-9020.
the best tasting radio show in all of South Louisiana. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and joining me as guest co-host tonight is Zach McMath, whose family goes back in food. Is that where...
We've been distributing food out of Lafayette since 1952.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your background and where all of this comes from.
So that being said, that we've kind of created an infrastructure for food distribution, and it's a snack vending company since 72. And when I came back, I'm born and raised here, and so when I came back from Baton Rouge, I started working for the family company, and we were distributing. And at the same time, as I was working through kind of that process and how to make that really efficient, and I'm there with my brother and sister and mom and dad, and we're all this.
Right.
It's the 5 of us, and then 81 other employees. So it's become a very big company, and we distribute all across the Southwest. Well, at the same time, I guess when I came back, I helped start Evolve an Artisan Juicery. And we were making organic cold pressed juice. And we were doing our best to source locally. And we got to about 70% locally sourced produce.
Which is fairly good.
Which is really hard to do.
Do you know, I'm blanking on this, about what the percentage has to be for a restaurant to be considered farm to table?
I don't.
There's a percentage, but yeah,
no,
70%'s a lot.
Yeah, and I kind of found, I joked that my full-time job wasn't M&M sales and it wasn't Evolve, it was sourcing produce. It wasn't making juice, it was actually sourcing the produce.
The produce hunter.
And it became, I realized how hard that is, and that a lot of the farmers don't have the certifications to be with big distributors. And that became a real challenge. And I was able to see kind of where those holes in that plan kind of existed.
Right.
And I could see that kind of from the outside, coming from a distribution company, that, look, you guys are lacking the distribution, so let's figure out a way to kind of help that. And that's kind of how, I guess, the initiative and how we started this ball rolling was, let's figure out how to get more produce sourced locally. At the same time, when we started this, we were sourcing everything at the farmer's market, and Lafayette had its freezes a couple years ago, and the highways were shut down for like 2 days, right?
Right.
That hit our vending company because we couldn't distribute food down to Houma and Lake Charles. And then when I'm at the farmer's market for Evolve, the farmers couldn't get from Alexandria to Lafayette, so we had no produce, and we were out of business for that day. And Joey Durrell, who was the mayor at the time, is standing there, and he says, well, yeah, Lafayette has a 2-day food supply. If we can't get trucks from all these other places, I mean, you look at our Lafayette Parish School system gets its food from Baton Rouge, from Capital City Produce. So if they can't get from Baton Rouge or the interstate's down, we got a problem. So I was like, well, that doesn't make much sense to me. And as much agriculture as we do here, none of it's actually things we eat. We sell it all. It's rice and sugarcane and things like that. And that's where a lot of the government helps subsidize a lot of those big things, but they're not really helping subsidize your smaller farmers that are creating food that we can actually eat. So kind of in that vein, in July of last year, I started kind of working on a project to build a commissary kitchen that did a little bit of this, but created some shared use space, essentially, for a part in the market that I saw needed some help. I mean, when we started Evolve, we grew out of the farmer's market. When you grow out of cottage industry, you need a certified kitchen.
Right.
And that doesn't really exist in Lafayette. So I was like, all right, well, let's build a certified kitchen. Let's build a commissary kitchen that food trucks can use and caterers can use and things like that. And that grew from 2,200 square feet to 7,500 square foot warehouse and offices and 2 kitchens at this point. And that's become the food hub and not just the commissary. And what the food hub is, everybody's got kind of a different idea of what it is.
Right. It gets very confusing and complicated because there's been talk of food hubs before, and and everyone is still very much like, what exactly is a food hub?
Right. So part of getting more local food, I think, and produce made here is about creating a market that uses it and that can afford it. Local produce is very expensive, right? So in an effort to get that price down, I want to try and lower the overhead that it would cost to aggregate all of these farmers together to get them into distribution lines. So the way we figured out doing that is creating the commissary kitchen for the food trucks and the caterers. And interestingly, we'll get to in a second, but virtual kitchens. was a new concept. There's that kitchen, and then there's a separate kitchen that's an incubator kitchen for value-added products. This is like Jeremy Connor's sea salt. He's going to make that an FDA-certified kitchen to get it on the store shelves. That only exists in Baton Rouge. It has an LSU food incubator.
When Dusty Lachele came on the show, he was talking about right now to get nutritional labels on his product, he has to go to Baton Rouge.
Right. That's just to get the nutritional labels.
Right.
A lot of people are going to Baton Rouge to make their product. And when I started this, that was something we found, that there's 15, 20 people that are going to Baton Rouge from Lafayette. Why in Cajun country are we not fostering our food culture by having something here to help people do that and to be able to share that space? You know, people like Jeremy can come in a couple days a month and make their whole month's supply. And so he doesn't need an overhead of an entire kitchen just to make that product. And not only that, but out of that, once we have an FDA certified product that they make, we then put that online and list that and sell that through e-commerce. So we're an e-commerce solution and a fulfillment solution for people that are making products out of that kitchen, and even people that aren't, that just have a certified product that they need some representation for distribution. We can house all of that there and kind of help them share that overhead. And that way, the person that makes the product doesn't have to be sitting there packing boxes and taking orders and everything else. Their website will flow through ours, and we'll actually package and fulfill that, and they can focus on promoting their products and making them. So
you're not just helping them with the commissary kitchen, you're also helping them with the business side of going to the next level with their product. Yeah, it's a food business incubator, if you will. Yeah. And so that's the two kitchens, and there's the e-commerce fulfillment. And all of that actually within that service, there's marketing, there's web development for some of these people that I've got a product, but I don't have a website for it yet, or I don't have a social media, I don't have a Facebook page for it. And we can help create that. We help people we have an in-house accountant that we can help people do their, they're starting their company really for the first time substantially. These people are coming out of farmers markets and cottage industry, and if you're selling over $20,000 a year, then you can't be considered cottage industry. Yeah, we were talking about that. The law gets so confusing to understand. And I was like, what is considered a cottage law? You said they can't make more than $20,000 and it has to be out of their home. Sometimes. It doesn't have to be in a certified kitchen is the point. Okay. And so anything more than that, they have to be in a certified kitchen. Right. But then this also allows them to be able to go into a bigger market. So they can actually go from there to being in actual stores. In like Rouse's and Right. All of this was kind of built to help create an infrastructure to support local farmers. And so because of all these little pieces, it costs less to distribute and to aggregate and to refrigerate all of this produce that we're getting from these farmers. So instead of 20% that it would cost me to distribute, I can do it for 2%, right? And so if I want to get the price down of local produce, I can't charge a whole lot to be the middleman, right? And that's going to help us get into institutions and be more competitive, so we can get local food into schools, and we can get local food into hospitals, and more restaurants are able to use it, because instead of 4 different farmers going to their restaurant and saying, you want some of this kale? I got some extra kale. And they go, well, I either already ordered it or that's not the right price. Right. I just can't do anything with it. That's kind of I've already planned my menu. That's how it's working now with the farm-to-table restaurants in town. Like the farmers just go and they shop off at the back of the truck. I noticed that at Evolve. I noticed at Evolve that they were coming and kind of just hawking their wares. And I was like, man, it'd be really nice if I knew what you had before you came. And so contract growing, I think, is an important part. I wonder why they didn't do that beforehand, like contacted the restaurant and said, hey, this is what I have. There's not a network. There's not a network putting those things together. And I guess like from the chef's that's what we're helping to do. Perspective too, they're going to want to look at the product. To some degree, yeah. And so when we aggregate, we list it online immediately. The chefs can go on there and order from one place instead of writing 5 different checks to 5 different farmers and handling that bill paying fiasco, right? They can go to one place and do it all. So then all this makes it easier and cheaper for us to source local food. That's been the goal. If we can decrease the price of local food and maybe give Lafayette more than a 2-day food supply, right? That would be nice. So essentially, now the only way that you can get local produce from farmers is at the farmers markets on Saturdays or Wednesday afternoons. Would this allow for the general public to be able to go shop? Yeah, it's not a storefront.
so you can't actually go in there and buy food out of it.
Okay.
Interestingly, when I started this 4 months ago, Waiter app didn't really exist on the board. And Waiter app actually solves kind of a solution here in that we can create an everyday online farmer's market that you can order and be delivered by Waiter app.
That's kind of cool.
I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. And I know that they're wanting to expand into the grocery delivery business,
it's exactly
too.
What it is, yeah.
So it's kind of a win-win. Yeah. But, okay, so for me, for instance, I'm not off every Saturday. I'm not. Yeah, I hardly get to shop at the farmer's market. And it's like, when I do get to go, I enjoy it and I shop there. But I mean... Their hours don't work with mine. Yeah. And if it rains, the weather plays like a huge role. Yeah. So to be able to get it outside of, the farmer's market hours.
And the reason you do that, and I didn't want a storefront. I wanted to get more farmers in more places. I don't need them to come to my store. I want produce everywhere.
Right.
And so it was really about making it easier for everybody to have access to it. And the issue, part of the issue that we found was that local farmers don't always have the GAP certification required to go into wholesale establishments and to be represented by big distribution companies.
And that's what you're hoping to solve.
That's we're number one, Waiter kind of fills that until we get everybody certified because we're going directly to consumer. But we, as a business model, are educating farmers and creating solutions for them to be able to process and refrigerate at their own farms so that they can be represented by everybody. So it's not just me distributing, they can be distributed by everybody else. That's been the goal. Yeah.
It's amazing to me from the farmer's perspective, and I'm saying this from having taught a class to the farmer's market recently on social media, how you can't just go and, farm. You have to know this business and even social media side.
Right. So it's not just the education on how to do it.
Right.
It's the implementation.
You have to get people to know that you're out there and know what you're trying to. It's so much more complicated these days.
And I don't want them to have to focus on that. I want to help them be that business solution and get them to a place where they're able to sell more.
Okay, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Zach. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Lafayette? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Lafayette area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Lafayette is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, call 1-800-974-5534. Seating is extremely limited. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals Guide. That's 1-800-974-5534. That's 1-800-974-5534.
My good friends, if you own land, you know it's a true blessing, a blessing that comes with a great responsibility. And that's something my good friends at Mahindra Tractors understand. So Mahindra wants to help you be the best steward of the land you care for with workhorse tractors built to help you work smarter, not harder. Imagine how much faster you'll finish projects with a Mahindra tractor that can push more, that can pull more, and lift more than the other guys. And every single Mahindra tractor is backed by a 5-year powertrain warranty. Mahindra also wants to help take a load off your budget by giving you 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest till 2017. So I invite you to learn more about the world's #1 selling tractor, Mahindra, at MahindraUSA.com.
Take advantage of rock-bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at Long Lene Tractor in Abbeville or call 337-893-1476. That's 337-893-1476.
The struggle is real.
Put on some music.
No way, I'm already over on my data.
It could be your friends, your neighbors.
You got your phone, right?
No way, I've only got 29% battery left.
Or even you.
Ugh.
The struggle is real. but there is hope.
No worries, I got it. I have Next Radio.
Next Radio?
What's that?
Oh, it's this free app for live radio on your phone. You just flip through what's playing now, music, news, sports, it's all there. And it uses up like 3 times less battery and 20 times less data.
Cool. Nice.
If I hear a song I like, boom, play history, it's all right there.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, Sprint, Boost, and Virgin already have it. T-Mobile and AT&T are going to have it soon.
Play Store?
Yep, Google Play Store.
Oh, sweet.
That's awesome.
Save the day. Be the hero. The struggle is real, but you can overcome. Download the Next Radio app free from the Google Play Store to unlock free FM radio on your smartphone.
Next Radio.
Radio you can see and hear.
From Boudin to the best burgers Acadiana has to offer, it's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and joining us tonight is Zach McMath, and he's talking about the food hub that he is under development. When is it supposed to
September
start?
1st.
September 1st.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Are you nervous? Are you ready?
It's coming along. It's just a matter of steps, and so everything's just kind of working its way out.
I've heard that you kind of have to talk about it to everyone because everyone has lots of questions. And
yeah, wait, it's something that's new. It's new to Louisiana and hasn't really been available. I mean, as I said, even the commissary space was something I needed. You know, I have a food truck that I've never been able to run because you need commissary space, and knowing that was a need that wasn't being filled, which just kind of made me go, we really need to start creating this. All the pieces together hasn't been created anywhere in Louisiana.
Yeah,
there's other states that are doing it. Tennessee's pretty far along creating things like this, but Lafayette hasn't figured out a way to get all these things put together. And I think you need all the pieces to fit together to really make it a sustainable project and not be focused on grants and trying to get money from other places, really just to make something sustainable, to create a business out of it, and really to create something as efficient as M&M Sales is with 4,000 vending machines, but for local food. That was the initiative. So instead of we're just selling a different thing,
right?
But just as efficiently with the same type of, efficiencies.
I think that background it helps.
Yeah, I mean, I sat in a room with a lot of people that were working on this, and I went, your gap is the representation and distribution and the infrastructure, and that was easy to see from the outside. I wouldn't expect most of the people to put all those pieces together. But yeah, actually definitely working at M&M and growing up, loading trucks and all that kind of stuff. And that fulfillment center definitely gave me a heck of an education as far as how to do this and how to do it, at a low price.
So the only one that's close to it is in New Orleans, but what I was reading is that it was the Drydeas market, but it actually turned out into being a public market instead.
Right. They ended up being a public market and an aggregation, but not the kitchens, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all the and not the business development side of it.
And I guess LSU has the kitchens.
And LSU has the food incubator that's for making products and for testing them and things like that.
So first in the state.
Yeah, for the most part, they're not putting all the pieces together. And I like to say that we're creating services that are needed in the food community. It's just a series of services that are needed to fill those gaps.
So one of the things that we were talking about too, that it's also going to fulfill a need for is virtual restaurants. You want to explain a little bit what that is? Yeah, so
when I started this, as I said a few months ago, Waiter app wasn't really on my radar. And I went to a meeting at Innovate that Zach Barker put on. Mm-hmm. And Chris Moe, who's the founder of Waiter app, was talking about basically different platforms that it had. And one of the ones he talked about was the virtual grocery. And then he started talking about virtual kitchens. I mean, he's got a guy in Lake Charles that has a commissary kitchen that has no storefront, but he sells hundreds of meals a day. He just waits for a ticket to print out. He doesn't have all the overhead. He doesn't have all the dishwashing. He doesn't have all the other stuff, but he can come in. And so this allows somebody to test the concept. So they can come and be open on a Friday and Saturday night during dinner hours and be featured on Waiter app. It looks like every other restaurant. Right. The only difference is you can't go in.
We actually talked about this on last week's show because David Chang had wrote an article about the death of the restaurant. And he's actually in New York. This is happening where they have just delivery restaurants. You can't go in and order it. It's all over phone. People deliver it to you. Like the restaurant, itself does not really exist, and how this is becoming the thing as popular as delivery services are becoming. This is exactly like what we were talking about last week on the show.
If M&M taught me anything, it's convenience, and that's how you get it out more. It's just being more convenient. And so Waiter App doing that and allowing a virtual restaurant to test a concept, to come in and say, okay, I've got an Indian concept or a Mediterranean concept, and I want to test it and just see if people buy it. It basically allows for pop-up kitchens.
Right, and it's that aspect of it I think is such a great idea, because I feel like, and I've talked about this before, for instance, I'm always like, oh my God, we need a dim sum restaurant in Lafayette. But for a dim sum restaurant to be open 7 days a week, nope, I don't think so. Right. But maybe like 2 or 3 days.
And it's a pretty significant investment to try and do that.
Right.
Yeah, to test that with a very large personal investment.
Right. So it's and I had also talked about the concept, what like Tribe Collective is doing, where it's several restaurants in one building, the kind of thing. But this is an alternative to that, and to even test to see if it's a good idea or not.
Yeah. It was important to create shared use space in all of the levels, whether it be the incubator kitchen or the commissary kitchen, to allow a greater number of people to do it and to share that overhead, to share equipment, to share storage space and warehouse space and all that. That's what's really going to make it affordable for people that are, like I said, coming out of farmers markets. They don't have the capital to open a $100,000 restaurant, which is cheap for opening a restaurant. But yeah, it allows them to really test it, and then if it works well, then they've got something that's been tested, and then they can go to the bank with maybe a better business model and some facts behind there. Some numbers behind it.
And again, the general public wouldn't be going there to dine at the restaurants. No. This is where the waiter comes in. It's a virtual.
Oh yeah, waiter's the solution.
So it'll be delivery to it.
Correct.
Okay, I'm getting with the program, and I'm understanding it now. It's making a lot more sense. Everyone needs to just have a radio show and have you come on and talk about this for an hour, and it'll start making complete sense. I could do it. I've been talking about this, and usually these conversations are way more than an hour. Yeah. For a few months now. I know you warned me. You were like, I'm just warning you, it normally takes about 45 minutes to explain this. And I was like, perfect. That's
I've done it in 30 seconds, standing there for 30 seconds. But to really explain all these little pieces and the intricacies of it, take some time.
Do you think that this is going to work with the farmers market, or in a way take away from the farmers market? I know there's been some people that have been a little worried about that.
Well, and I met with the horse farmers market board, I guess last week. Wow, last week, yeah. And that was one of the questions, and it really never occurred to me that I would be taking business away.
That's so funny, because someone from the board is the one who.
Yeah, no, I got it. No, it was a great.
It was probably the same person. I'll ask you during the break.
It was a great question, and it's something that really didn't occur to me. As far as what my thought is. I've got farmers that go to a farmer's market and they pick all of these watermelons, okay, and then they don't sell them all.
Right.
What do they do with it?
That's a huge problem.
You know how much waste goes on?
That's in grocery stores as well.
How many farmers I talk to that they're now planting half of their fields because they don't have a place to sell the other half? That they have crops going dead in the fields because there's not enough people at the farmer's market, or that they can go to the farmer's market to allow them to be able to pick it and sell it. So it just goes dead in the field. I got a big problem with that kind of waste, especially for local stuff, when we have so many people that can't afford good local food. So if nothing else, if that farmer picks those watermelons and can't sell them at the farmer's market, then on his way out of town, he drops them off at my place. And he can supplement that, and he has less waste, and he can plant more of his field where a lot of the farmers I'm talking to now, because I've been talking to farmers for months and months to figure out what their issues are and what their needs are, because I want to make sure that if we're creating solutions, it's for these people, and we know what we're actually trying to do. And that was one of the things I found, is just the amount of waste, or they're not planting their entire fields because they don't have a place to sell it. So do I think it's going to replace a farmer's market? I hope not. I love the farmer's market, and I think it's great for small businesses. I started Evolve with Mel at the farmer's market. Yeah. It was a great place. And one of the comments I made when they asked me that was, farmer's markets are still going to exist because people like the relationship with their farmer. I see farmer's markets as more of a marketing tool than a sales tool. And so if we can still allow them, the farmer's market will still allow them to have that communication with their customer. But this aggregation in this way allows them to be everywhere. That's my answer to that. No, I don't think so. That's certainly not my intention, is to replace farmers markets now.
And there's also the hope of supplying produce to the school system here.
Yeah, so we're in talks with school system. That's really about having a consistent supply. It's hard for them to do because they've got to be able to source it from GAP certified farmers. And as we discussed, if you look at farmers in Louisiana, and then you narrow that down to farmers that are GAP certified, which is a certification that is required by major distributors and places like Walmarts and the Albertsons and that kind of stuff. If you narrow that down, there's only 15 farmers in Louisiana that are GAP certified, and 10 of them are sweet potato farmers. And so I'm going, man, we got to get these guys certified so they can get into more stores. And that's part of our business model, is to allow them to educate them and implement, steps so they can actually do that. It's only going to grow their operations, as far as that goes.
So what you're saying is, if you buy sweet potatoes at a grocery store, there's a very good chance that it probably came from a local farmer. Then
sweet potatoes, yeah,
sweet potatoes.
It's just tough to find everything else.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. So we're like, man, we got to get these guys GAP certified so that they can be out there more. But until then, we have some solutions.
I had noticed recently that Walmart's kind of like promoting local farmers recently, and that they've kind of have it set up in certain Walmarts selling local produce. I kind of put it out there whether this was a good or a bad thing for local farmers. And I had a local farmer that was very against it because he said that there was no way he would be able to make a profit.
Yeah, they control the prices, and they demand that prices be low. And look, that makes sense. I mean, they're a business, and they got to make sure they can resell it at an appropriate price for their market. The problem is that the farmer can't make money because they have so much waste, because they don't have ability to distribute it. All of these little things that are all pieces of that business that they can't achieve. So yeah, it's a lot more expensive for the local farmer than it is for somebody else. It's in California, and they've got their huge operations, right? So yeah, that was the issue.
Yeah.
Now it's good that Walmart's using local. What local means is relative. I mean, does local mean within 200 miles?
Right.
I wouldn't quite consider that
regional,
local.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Alexandria is far. And when we were at the farmers market, we couldn't get produce from Alexandria to be open. So I think Lafayette, with all of its agriculture, and I say Lafayette is more the Acadiana area, we got plenty of land to do this. I gave land to Earthshare Gardens. I negotiated the transfer of family land to Earthshare Gardens for 10 years because I saw the need for local produce.
And they were uprooted from where
they were on Louisiana Avenue, and they lost their lease.
Right.
And I went out there to volunteer and went, what happened? And got in touch with Chris Adams and said, hey, you want this land? We'll give it to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep feeding people.
Right.
Keep flooding the market with cheaply made organic produce, please. That's going to decrease it for everybody. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Zach. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Here's a great tip from Cocolari Spa. While acne is a common skin problem among teenagers, it can also affect adults well into their 30s and beyond. Depending on its severity, acne can be irritating and persistent, leaving unsightly blemishes on the skin. Common treatments for adult acne include topical therapies like prescription retinoic acid products, systematic therapies like oral antibiotics, and therapies like laser skin resurfacing. Thanks to technology, acne at any age can be improved. Try one of these treatment methods to begin improving your skin.
For more tips and advice from Cocolari, visit this Town Square Media radio station's website.
Sublime is the latest effective technology for skin contouring and is available at Cocolari Spa. Sublime can improve skin texture, tighten skin, decrease fine lines and wrinkles, improve facial contours, and smooth and even complexion. Clients can see immediate results with little to no downtime. Purchase a Sublime package this month and receive a recovery complex free, a $179 value. Call Cocolari today at 337-769-7546 or visit them online at cocolarispa.com.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Hypnosis can help. Join the over 500,000 people who have attended Mark Patrick Hypnosis programs with weight loss results. Mark Patrick Hypnosis will be in Lafayette on Thursday, July 21st. Summer's here, so it's time to get back on track.
My goal is to lose 30, so I lost, actually more than I ever thought I would.
I can exercise. I am happy with myself. I'm happy with others. But it just changed my life totally around. It was just my last ray of hope.
As of today, have already lost 48 pounds.
I've lost about 32 pounds.
For only $49.99, lose all the weight you want, 100% guaranteed. Thursday, July 21st at the Hilton Garden Inn Cajun Dome Hotel, 2350 West Congress Street, Lafayette. Seminar time is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Registration begins at 5 p.m. Attend this program and find out how the power of hypnosis can help you achieve your weight loss goals. There's limited seating, so get there early. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
And now, we talk about food. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. We've been talking with Zach McMath about the Food Hub that I am now very knowledgeable about and super excited for coming. Okay, Cajun Crate.
Yeah, so when I was working out this concept and kind of what we wanted to put all together, I knew that we needed some sort of web development, e-commerce, some kind of solution, to help everybody get their products out. And I was looking for, the perfect wheel to not reinvent but duplicate, right? And before Cajun Crate launched their Kickstarter, I found her, and I found who was running it when nobody knew who. Actually, Mark Whitney. Told me who it was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Tara Guidry is running it, and she asked me, she was like, how'd you find out, who's running it? And I was like, well, that's Mark. And, but she had created Cajun Crate, and it was about to launch, and I went, this is what I need to build. I mean, this is what was in my mind, and it was so well developed. And so I met with Tara and said, and kind of gave her this entire plan. This conversation we're having here, and she said, well, how much do you think we're going to be in competition? I said, no, you don't understand. I don't want to do this. I'm not good at web development or anything. Right. And instead of me hiring somebody, how about you just come run your company out of this and rent warehouse space and rent some office space there and represent my clients here, bringing your own clients there and help, with their web development and help host them online and do Cajun Crate, but do it out of here. Because we're all doing the same thing. We're all supporting local food. And what you're doing is so much in line that I don't want to recreate it. I don't want to take that business from you. Just do it here. And she went, great. I'm going to need warehouse space anyway. And I was like, yeah, come on. It allows me to offer that service to my clients and to kind of be that one-stop shop. So, they obviously can go somewhere else to do any kind of marketing, but to allow a solution at a really competitive rate because it's so shared in this way. That was important. I knew I needed to build that, but I'm certainly not capable. There's things I'm good at, and that's not one of them. Right. And she's great at it. Cajun Crate it's fantastic. Everything that I would have wanted to do, she is already doing.
It's a really cool idea. And
oh yeah.
I'm so glad.
Jeremy Connor's, sea salt is in there. Couchon Cannery from Dusty is in there. The curation of those boxes is fantastic. But that kind of worked into the services that we were offering out of there, and so it's the two kitchens, and then the even for people that aren't using the kitchens, they can still have their product featured on and stored in my warehouse and featured on the website. This is a place for food trucks to be able to park, caterers, like I said, and so it's become a lot of different services. And probably the easiest way to kind of look at this, if you go, we have a website, it's called McMathfoodgroup.com. And if you go on there, it kind of lists a little bit about what this concept is, what the different services are, and then you can fill out like you'll click on it and it'll say, I'm in the food industry, and then what are you interested in, and then I'll fill out, and it's probably the easiest way to get information to me if you're interested in the space for any one of these services. That's probably the best way to do it.
Can you say who's signed up? We know Cajun Crate is working with you.
At this point, no.
No. It's still confidential.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you, you dine out a lot around town. I follow you on social media. Yeah. And you're a supporter
I love food.
of eating locally. What are some of your favorite restaurants?
Well, I'm from here. Okay. Yeah. So there's nostalgia built into this whole food, culinary culture, right? Like I love Elise's pizza. I will always love Elise's pizza.
We share a mutual love of that.
Oh, man.
Their pizza is so good. And okay, so the mushrooms are totally canned mushrooms, but I love that they're canned mushrooms. Like they taste so much better on the pizza.
I get the pepperoni, bacon, and green olives.
I get pepperoni and mushroom. That's my pizza.
What's funny is if you look at the pizza box and you get a pepperoni and you get pepperoni and bacon, how much greasier that pepperoni and bacon is. It's fantastic. It's I joked, when you were talking about Pepin's, and you were saying like, I want to go get the plate lunch, but I can't not get. I've been to Elise's thousands of times, and I always get the same pizza. I'm like, I'm here for a reason.
Right.
And it's to get this pizza. Yeah.
I haven't dined in there in forever.
It's so cute.
Anne Falgu, who's on the show a lot, it's also one of her favorite places as well.
It's been there forever.
And she'll dine in there, and they'll get like the Italian bottles of wine that have like the straw bottoms that
the
like
Chianti?
you would see in movies. Yeah,
they serve Peroni beer and
right. I need to go like actually dine in there.
Well, when I was in high school, my dad told me, he says, if you ever want to bring a girl on a date, bring her to Elise's and I'll pay for it. Because that's where he used to bring his girls when he was in high school, and that was the
fancy place.
That was
the fancy Italian restaurant.
It was the first Italian restaurant, right? And built in a location that was the end of Johnson Street at that point.
Right.
It was dirt road after that. In the same vein, Judy Sin was built on a dirt road, and I don't care what you say, that's my favorite burger in town.
We will disagree on that. I mean, I feel
as I said, it's nostalgia.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
I feel like that is a huge reason why people love it so much, that there's so much memories associated. My grandfather, when he was going to USL, like he used to, eat at Judy's Inn too. So it's there. So people are so passionate about Judy's
it's ingrained
Inn burgers.
And you get to know the family and you went to school with the young Judy's, and it was it's just kind of one of those things ingrained. Pete's was the same way, but I mean, nostalgia base there, right? As far as favorite restaurants in town, Dark Roux, Bread and Circus, anywhere Jeremy Connor pops up.
Oh man, I feel like if anyone if any chef in town is gonna get a James Beard nom, it's gonna be Jeremy.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
And he would never agree with that because that's the kind of guy.
Oh, he's so humble and
very
just
humble.
He's a sweet guy.
But I really feel like that's coming for him.
I hope so.
He
deserves the recognition at least.
Yeah, he's going places, that one. Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to narrow it down as far as favorite Lafayette food.
If you could pick one like dream restaurant to come to the virtual kitchen, what would it be that you'd be so excited is coming?
That's a really tough question.
And on that note, I will mention really quickly that I was given information that an Indonesian pop-up was coming soon, and that is something that we have not had.
I had a pitch for an Indian restaurant, Indian concept that wanted to come in.
Yeah, you told me that.
You pretty much only have masalas, I think, at this point.
Right.
So we could use another Indian restaurant.
We very much could.
I say that, and that's a sentiment I get a lot. It's like, yes, we do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite food.
International cuisine that people say that we need more of, and it's coming, and it comes into pop-ups and everything. And this might be a good little market for it, the virtual restaurants,
to help expose those kind of cuisines. Yeah, absolutely.
So, what would be your last meal on Earth? I know, I just threw it on you. I didn't even warn you that it was coming.
Last meal on Earth.
Is it home cooked or is it from a restaurant?
You know what?
It's probably
actually
Elise's Pizza.
No, that's great because I didn't even think about home cooked. It's mom's fried crawfish and homemade French fries.
Oh, There we go.
That is my birthday meal.
We get a lot of sentimental. Well, okay, so since she did home cooked, what would be like restaurant? To throw a wrench in there.
Could you put Judy's on top of Elise's and right?
Yeah, you can just have a burger, pizza from.
I think I like food too much to narrow things down. It's just it's all
kind of with you with that. Good. Yeah, I totally get it.
I will say Cafe V is doing an incredible job.
Yeah, we were talking about that. They recently started a happy hour.
Yep.
And
on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like $6 mixed drinks, wine, and small plates.
And you're the second person that's mentioned something about the old fashions.
Yeah,
there too. So I'm gonna have to go check out these old.
I'm an old fashioned addict, if you will.
Yeah. They're pretty darn good.
There's a different word for that, but I'm not going to say it.
I speak the same language, so I totally get it. I totally understand. What's your favorite boudin place? Since you're a local guy.
Like Best Stop.
Really?
Yeah, because who else? I mean, it's boudin is one of those things that everybody does a little bit differently, but can you really taste the difference? Can you really, you do the boudin cook-off. You judged for that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've judged the last 2 years of it. But
the problem is that some of the best boudin that's out there, you can't find.
Right. It's a little hole in the wall.
It's a little hole in the wall.
They don't advertise, but everyone just knows.
Which was great about the Boudin Festival because it exposed you to that.
Right.
And there's people that didn't necessarily have their own stores or anything like that.
Thank you so much for coming on, Zach. Do you want to plug the website again so people can go get more information?
It's McMathFoodGroup.com. There's a Facebook page too. It's got some content, but website's probably the easiest way to get in touch.
All right, that's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This has been Tiffany Deku on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and this has been the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana.